Wait a minute. So we're going to discuss what are receptive and productive skills, sub-skills, and how to teach them and different activities. Before asking you about listening, okay? So what are the four more main skills in learning language? Come on. You can type it or you can say it. The four skills.
I'm sorry, Ms. Miseli, just a note for you. Everybody is muted, so they can't really talk unless they mute,
Really?
unless they're
So hard to
unmuting
hear
themselves,
you.
or you can go ahead unmute any candidate that you want them to speak. Candidates can also unmute their own microphone to speak. So before they want to speak, they should just click their microphone to unmute to speak. All right,
Oh,
that's just
thank you.
something they should know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarina. Am I right? Sarina, listening, speaking, reading, writing. Very good. Very good. And Sana, when we listen, we grasp the information. Thank you very much. So that's it. That's the answer for this questions. Thank you, Sarina, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so speaking, listening, reading, writing, the four main skills for learning a language. Today we want to talk about listening and speaking. Okay, guys, why is listening important in learning language? So Sanu said, when we listen, we grasp the information. Very good. What else? Guys, so you got it? You can unmute. You just click on your microphone, unmute your microphone and start talking. Otherwise, please type it in the chat box. So tell me, why listening is important?
Listening is important because it's learning us how to speak, and so how we listen, how we listen to our parents when we are kids. This is how we learn to speak and to start speaking. And also, it is only the way to learn information.
Thank you very much, Radiva. Am I right?
Radwa, yes.
Radwa.
Yeah.
Radwa. Thank you very much, Radwa.
You're welcome.
That's so true. Thank you. Any other ideas?
May I please share? I'm
Sure,
Nida
sure.
Mustafa Sheikh. Okay, the
Yes,
question
Nida.
says, why is listening important? Because until unless if you're not going to listen, you won't be answered back. And then I think you always need to give time to others to make them feel comfortable, and this you can only do until unless you can make them feel comfortable when you listen to them, when you have a listening ear for others, and then only they will come in the comfort zone.
Yes, thank you, Nida. Thank you for sharing your
You're
ideas.
welcome. You're welcome.
Very good. Very good, guys. Very good. So, as you said, people who speak well normally listen well. Yeah, don't you think? Don't you agree? And it's important skill because it's how we naturally learn a language. You mentioned it as kids. This is the way they learn how to speak. And we begin to learn our first language by repeating what we hear others say. Yeah? So that's why it's important in learning language. Perfect. Now, we were talking about the four main skills, huh? Listening, speaking, reading, writing. But also there is another category, two. So two of them are receptive skills and two of them are productive skills. Can you tell me which ones are receptive skills? You can guess.
So
Listening and reading.
receptive is listening and thinking, and productive is speaking.
And
then
receptive and receptive skills as listening, as reading, all this we receive. Okay, when we read and when we listen. Productive when we speak. This is a kind of and also writing. I think it's productive skill. Writing writing
Thank
and
you,
speaking are
Radwa.
productive skills. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you
You're
agree,
welcome.
guys? Yes? Other ones. Do you agree? Mm-hmm. Yes?
I think receptive skills that what the teacher teach and productive is the result what the student gives to teacher.
Oh, okay. So they produce it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So when we receive the knowledge, okay, get the input. So how? Through listening and reading something. Don't you agree? Mm-hmm. That what I receive, what I learn, receptive skills. So through listening and reading. Then I produce the language, as you said to our teachers. Yeah, produce the language. So how is it possible? Through speaking and writing. Is that clear, everyone? Is it clear? Yes?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So now here's another question. Can you only teach listening? For example, this session, I just want you to teach listening. Or next section, I just only teach you speaking. Is it possible?
No, I don't think so because what I believe that all are interlink each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think if we teach listening, then
Good
we
idea.
should teach speaking and reading and writing.
Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you, Sana. Reading is a receptive skill as well. Yes, you're right. Listening and so what were the others? What were the others? Do you agree it's not possible or you think it's possible? Just you teach one skill separately. Yeah.
Output is basically like the speaking and writing that we are producing something which we have already learned or gained from the environment, like listening and reading. We gain this information from the environment, and whenever we are speaking or writing, we are pouring out that information which we have already grasped. So, this is basically the input and output.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So here is the part that we talked about integrated skills. Okay, that's why we call it integrated skills. It refers to the interactions of four main language skills altogether. Okay, so listening, reading, speaking, and writing are integrated. You're teaching listening, then you get the feedback. How is it possible? They have to produce the language. So through speaking activities or writing activities. You ask them to read something, for example, then they can start to talk about it. Or start to write about it. So all four skills are integrated. Agree? Clear?
It's clear.
Yes. Thank you. So others can type yes if it's not possible for you to talk. So you can just type yes. Good. Thank you. So here's another question. What is active listening? Do you have any ideas? What is active listening?
I think to give your best and to be focused when someone's talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you elaborate? Can you give me an example or can you explain it a bit?
All right. So active
Mm-hmm.
listening, we can say as in that someone's talking to you and you're like focused on whatever he or she's talking to you, and you can answer back immediately rather than just sitting and listening, but then you're physically present, but you're mentally not present there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And it
You're
happens in
welcome.
I
classes.
think
Yeah?
actually
Yes,
what
please.
I think I believe that something positive talking and you engage your partner in
Mm-hmm.
positive talk in
Engage
positive
Thursday.
conversation.
Yes, in the conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, I'm not sure if I can play this video. Let me see. Just type, you can hear it. Okay, I'm gonna play it. You can hear it. I'm Kevin Roberts. Can you hear it, guys? Cyber junkie and movers, dreamers, and risk takers. I'm here today with psychotherapist Drew Yankee, and we work with a lot of groups. One of the things that we've found over the years, don't listen to each other. Thank you. Thank you very much. Activities that we use to help people listen, and we really think it's important to teach listening skills from the very active listening. First, so we believe that a group steeped in active listening is people become more capable of split participants in the groups. So guys, it's not clear. Voice not clear. Oh, okay. So let me ask Dr. Baghdadi, is it possible to upload the video, or that is the way it works, Dr. Baghdadi?
Could you send me the link to this video? Is it in
I have the
YouTube?
video.
You have
I have
the
the video. I don't have the link now.
So what you do, use WeTransfer and send this file through WeTransfer to us. We'll download it and upload it to Canvas.
Okay.
So
So maybe I'll do it next time. Okay. Today,
not
right now, I'm gonna
let's say
explain it because
there is this website called WeTransfer.com. You can go there and then upload your video there.
Just give me a minute.
I'm sorry?
So maybe I can send it.
But you can't do it now. It's going to take time. Transferring files as big as a video, it takes a lot of time. So please do that when you get a chance later.
Yes.
And then we'll
Yes,
share it with everyone through Canvas.
Okay. I don't think. Yeah. Sure. Sure, guys. So I'm gonna explain it to you. So from next time, I'm going to send it to you. I just send it to your WhatsApp if you have received. So maybe you can document it. Maybe you can upload it. So guys, so what it said, basically, it said we need to work. Can you see my slide now? Yes. Is that clear, guys? Yes. Is that clear?
Yes,
The
please.
slide. Oh, okay. Thank you. So what it basically said that you need to teach your students to be active listeners, not passive listeners. So if you just speak in the class or play the audio, but you don't get feedback, it's like a radio or TV. So maybe they listen to you or may not. You know what I mean? So that's the way. When you send a message to the receiver, you need to get the feedback. Okay? So different activities is possible. Right? One is you give them some exercises to do. You ask them to give you summary. You can ask them to listen and stop the audio, then ask them what happened next, to guess what happened next, to fill in the blanks. So the important thing is through different activities, you make your students active listeners. Okay, so that's why you keep asking them questions or give them different activities or even worksheets to do. Okay, am I clear enough? Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So they listen. So what about listening? So they listen to speeches and sounds like initiating sound, or speaking categories, tones, intonations, accents. So they're all important in teaching. Let me give you an example. What is that? I've done it. Huh? I've done it. Usually, people, I mean, especially native speakers or through communication, they never say, I have done it. I've done it. Or I've got it. Huh? for example. So short sounds. So if they don't understand it, they won't get the meaning. Okay, they won't get the meaning. So we need to work on the sounds, also tones, intonation. Accent is not very important these days, actually. That's why they're talking about Englishes. So people speak with different accents around the world. The important thing is we speak correctly, so understandable. But intonation and tones, yes, yes, it is very important. So through intonation or through tones, what can they get, guys? When you listen to something, through intonation or tones, what do you understand?
Feeling.
Have any idea?
The feeling.
Their mood, their speaking mood,
The mood.
that what is the message behind the sentence. Through the tone, through the intonation, we can understand the accent tell us that the sentence behind meaning is positive or negative. That's why I think these things are very important.
Thank you. Thank you. So your friend was talking to, who was talking? Someone else was talking as well. Do you want to add anything?
You're talking about me?
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I have the same opinion. I'll second Sadia, how she said it. Like I won't claim it that it is the tones and speeches and the intonation is what we call a non-verbal communication, but then it plays a very important role. If I say yes, please, then it's yes, please. But if I want to give a stress to it, and if I'll say yes, please, so of course the person whom I'm saying and I'm talking to will get an idea that I'm kind of angry. So it plays a very important role with the we can play with these intonations and stresses, don't you think so?
Yes, of course. That was a very nice example. You're so correct. You're so
Thank
correct.
you.
And also, in what categories you're talking to? Is it formal? Is it informal? So, in what situation? Very good. Or maybe they listen to dialogues. Okay, so processing. How do they process the dialogue? Okay, and then they have some activities according to the meaning. So they have to comprehend the meaning of the dialogue or the meaning of the listening, and then reacting, doing some activities or exercises. So they either listen to monologue or dialogue. Monologue, it's just one person talking. Sometimes it's planned, so no redundancy. So you have the activities, and here is the listening. They listen to it and do the activity. Sometimes it's unplanned, like news. Or like different documentary, real life things, okay, different documentaries or speeches and talks. So maybe they have to focus to find the answers, okay, the answers of the activities. So it's just long stretches of speech without an interruption, just talking. But through dialogue, it's either interpersonal, like social talking, or transactional, like factual information, and unfamiliar. So maybe the subject's not familiar to your students or familiar. So they are familiar with the student, with the subjects. So they know the subject. So they listen to different audios and different subjects. But how to work with them? Actually, it's divided to two categories: intensive listenings and extensive listening. So do you have any ideas? What's the difference between intensive listening and extensive listening? Intensive, just you can even guess through the picture: intensive and extensive. Extensive, He's sleeping and smiling, but intensive, focus. Yes, please.
Intensive
Yes.
maybe is he is alert to what he's listening. He's alert. He's aware of what he's listening, understand it, and focus, as you said. Extensive, that he doesn't understand he doesn't understand the speech, and he just sleepy or not focus or not understand, like that.
Thank you. Not understand the whole thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other ideas?
I think example of extensive listening, airport announcement. Then we are very focusedly listen the announcement in airport, and extensive listening is just listen anything, not interestedly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much. What were the others? Do you have any other ideas?
Can I add something?
Yes, sure, please.
Okay, intensive learning is basically it builds the journal foundational skills, and I think so. Intensive is that how you use that information into your journal content.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
So, as you said, intensive listening is the choice of teaching, reporting, and story and essay, or just it's like their course books, okay, or science essay. So it's just their course book listening. You work on vocabulary, you work on grammar, you work on stress, you work on intonation, you work on pronunciation, you work on functions, okay, and they learn everything about it, like the course books. That's intensive course books listening part. But extensive listening, it's just they enjoy listening to something. For example, they like to listen to news, or they like to listen to music or stories, audio stories. Okay. So, or just audiobooks, interesting in stories. So here it's useful also because they get familiar with the English pronunciation, with English pronounce. Oh, you cannot hear me? Guys, can you hear me well? Barry
Yes,
Hosted.
we can hear you.
Okay. So Barry, maybe you need to check your connection. Okay. Thank you, Nida. So extensive is also useful. Why? Because through extensive listening, they get familiar with correct pronunciation, intonation, they get familiar with the words and structures, and they broaden their knowledge and improve their listening. So in your classes, we have both intensive and extensive. Intensive listenings are the listenings that they usually have or they study or work in the class. Okay? But extensive, the thing you can ask them to listen to an audio. Okay, they can listen to an audio at home, and next time they come to the class and you get their feedback. Yes, Fariha, I guess that's connection issue. Yeah, I guess so. So you have to check your internet connection. Guys, you get it? What's the difference between intensive and extensive? And both are useful. Both are useful. Sure. So what about extensive
Can
listening?
you, excuse
Yes,
me,
please.
can you
No, no,
please
no.
explain this intensive and extensive one more time? Right,
Sure,
like,
sure,
I am getting you, but then again, I'm getting a little confused between both of them.
sure. I will. I will.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So intensive listening is like, okay, everybody listen what they have in their course books, for example. I want you to look at these pictures and listen to the dialogue. Then tell me, where is Billy going? What is he going to do? When is he going to school? They listen to the dialogue and they find the answers. Okay, they find the answers. Or they listen to the dialogue and they decide whether the sentences are true or false. Or they listen to the dialogue and they fill in the blanks. So you work on vocabulary. Then you ask them to tell you the answer. Okay, so what is the word? What is the structure? So you work on grammar part, you work on the vocabulary part, or even you work on the function. Okay, how did he say to Laura to go to school? He said, let's go to school. So you work on, for example, how to make suggestions. Okay, so this is intensive. Work on it as the target language of the class. But extensive, it's something they like to listen to. And they come back to the class and talk about it to improve their listening. Like you can ask them to listen to audiobooks, storybooks. But I listen for example, I like drama, I listen to drama audiobooks. You like detective stories, you listen to detective stories. Or somebody likes listen to music, they listen to music. Somebody likes listen to news, they listen to the news. And then when they come to the class, for example, you say for next time, I want you to listen to local news in English and come to the class and say which news was interesting to you. So they listen to the news and I come and talk about new environmental project. The other one comes and talk about new concert in the area. The other one comes and talk about new libraries in the area. You know, maybe they won't understand all details about the listening, all the words, all the structure, no, but they comprehend what is it about. Is it clear now?
Yeah, so may I please give you an example which might
Sure.
not sound relative,
Yes,
but then
please.
do you really think so? Means let's see if I've got your point or not. How we say there's a formal and informal communication. So can we say that intensive is the formal listening and extensive is the informal listening?
You know what? If you're talking about formal and informal in language, so
Yeah.
so no, not exactly. Maybe they listen to
Okay.
something formal, but
Okay.
so
All
it's
right.
just
I
the
need
point
to.
is in intensive listening, you go through all the aspects of learning. But extensive listening, it's just we are working on comprehension. They comprehend and they understand the whole thing about it. And they like listen to it.
All right.
Okay?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Is it clear to everyone what's the difference between intensive and extensive? Is it clear enough? Yes? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay. So now, when you want to teach listening, so we have two approaches. What's the approach? It's bottom up and top down. Okay? We say top down and bottom up. Now, how it works? First of all, let me ask you, when you want to work on listening, for example, either reading, but right now we are talking about listening. Listening. So, what aspects of this audio track you're working on in the class? Just imagine you want to teach this listening part to your students. So, what aspects of it you're going to teach? First, you check if they.
Bottom up.
May you
Okay.
repeat
So,
your
what do
question,
you mean
please?
bottom up? Means they understand what?
From level 1, and then we go up to level 4 or 5 or whatever. Just we can increase our knowledge step by step. That's what I.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, when you want to teach listening to your students, the very first thing you check with your student, what is the very first thing you check with your student?
The
If
level.
they understand,
Yeah.
Their previous knowledge, that what do they know about the topic which we are going to teach.
Thank
Their
you.
prior knowledge, that how much
Okay.
they previously know.
Oh, okay, very good. Thank you. What else? What else you gonna check? Can the voice be a bit louder? Yes, of course. Okay.
Can it be from unknown to can it be from known to unknown?
Yes, we always start from. I'm going to talk a bit louder. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe it's because your friend asked their level, the level of understanding. Oh, you're answering to the question. Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We always start from known to unknown part. Perfect. What else? So when you play, guys, listen. When you play the audio, after playing the audio, what you're gonna check with your students?
Are they able to understand that audio or not?
Cute. Thank you. You check their comprehension. Bravo. Very good. What else? So their comprehension.
And then they can understand the accent,
The accent. Bravo.
and they can make sense of it or not, or they just what do you
Mhm.
say? They're just randomly picking up things.
Yes, they get the opinion. Yep.
Or can
Yes, the
express
mood, the feeling. Bravo. What else?
yeah, can express in his words what he listened.
Ah, yeah, that's right. That's right. Then they start talking about it. Excellent. You get the feedback.
They
Thank
give
you.
their feedback regarding the topic.
Bravo. Bravo. Anything else? Anything else? Good points, actually. Good points. You know, guys, so when you want to teach, when you want to teach listening to your students, as you said, we need to check their comprehension. How? We need to activate the background knowledge. For example, the listening is about earthquake. Earthquake. So the very first thing is, do they have any ideas what's earthquake? Otherwise, they won't understand it. Or the listening is about how to make strawberry jam. If they don't know what's the meaning of strawberry, if they don't know what's the meaning of jam, can they understand anything from the audio? Can they understand anything from the audio? They don't know what's the meaning of strawberry. They don't know what's the meaning of jam. Will they
Of
understand
course
anything?
not.
Of course not. Bravo. Of course not. So the very first thing, as you said, the student should understand the topic, the whole topic. They should have ideas about it. So you're going to elicit, ask questions, or start talking about it, or show them the pictures, okay, to activate their background knowledge, okay? So they say, it's about the earthquake. It's about how to make strawberry jam. So you put them in the context. That we call it contextualization. You put them in a context. Otherwise, if you go to the class and say, okay, everybody listen, I play it, will they understand anything? No, because they are not in a context. So you start asking them some questions. You can bring some pictures to the class. Okay, you start talking about the topic and activate their background knowledge. So you put them in the context. Sometimes you need to pre-teach the keywords. What do I mean by keywords? Do you have any ideas? Keywords?
The main idea. The main idea
Yes.
of
The words
Thank you.
related to the topic.
The
Yes,
words they
thank
can
you.
pick up very easily, and then they
Thank
can
you.
make sense of it.
The keywords are the words which actually revolve around the topic, by which they can just grasp the topic or they can just come to exactly on the topic.
Bravo, bravo. They can, yes, they can understand the main idea. Yes, very
Yeah.
good. Or there's another word. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure. So there is another word for it. It's blocked words. Means if they don't know the keywords, they won't understand anything. The same example that we were talking about, strawberry jam. So if they don't know what's the meaning of strawberry and they don't know what's the meaning of jam, they won't understand anything. Okay? So that's it. You need to pre-teach the keywords. If they don't know what's earthquake, so you need to pre-teach the keywords. So you put them in the context, activate their background knowledge, and then pre-teach the keywords, then ask them some questions or give them some questions. Why? To make them active listeners. Otherwise, they just start daydreaming. They won't listen. So to help them to concentrate on listening, you have to give them some activities or exercises or worksheets, some questions to answer. Mhm. This is bottom up. So bottom up actually here. So bottom up processing proceeds from sounds to words to grammatical relationships to lexical meaning, etc., to final message. What it means that's bottom up. I'm sorry. This is top down. So in top down processing, it's because you activate their background knowledge, they comprehend, they get what's the whole thing about, the main idea, okay? So they can talk about it. So they can talk about the earthquake, they can talk about how to make strawberry jam. So they get overall picture, they get general idea, okay? Sometimes you stop it and ask them, okay, guess what happened next? So they can predict what will happen next. And then you can get the feedback, okay? So it's working on comprehension, getting the idea of the whole listening. This is top down. But also, because it's intensive listening, you need to work on vocabulary. So you need to check the meaning of vocabulary, how to write it, how to pronounce it, okay, how to pronounce it. Also, sometimes you need to work on grammar points. So you have to check the structure. Or sometimes you need to work on functions. Is it how to make suggestions, how to make invitations, how to give advice, how to request? So you work on the function. Let's go, shall we go, would you like, if I were you, you should do this. So you work on language functions. That's bottom up, okay? So here I said from sounds to words, to grammatical relationship, to lexical meaning, then they get the final message. So you work on words, you work on structure, you work on pronunciation, elements of language. You focus on individual units of language. Okay? It's very important for lower levels because such as the example I told you, for example, I've got it. So they know I got. So they don't get I have got it. Okay, so you work on it. Bottom up processing. So in the class, for intensive listening, we have two approaches. One, top down, that activate their background knowledge and work on comprehension, get the general idea, general picture of the listening and start talking about it. Which word they like, which word they won't like, what happened next, what's your idea about it. Also, bottom up, that you work on words, you work on grammar, you work on functions, you work on pronunciation, because listening is receptive skills. So they have to learn something new about language. Then they produce it. Is that clear enough, guys? Do you have any questions? Thank you, Nazat. Guys, is that clear?
Yes, please.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, yes.
Good. Thank you. So you have different, okay? So you have different activities or in the class, okay? But the teaching, let's talk about teaching, listening, comprehension. So before start teaching this part, the very first thing is you need to motivate your students to listen. Otherwise, they won't listen. So they won't answer back. To make them active listeners. So what's your idea? How can you motivate your students to listen? What techniques do you
Through
think?
pictures, through showing pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yes, show them interesting
Uh,
pictures. Very good. What else?
And
uh,
showing the video.
Yes, using video. Yeah, very good. Audio visual. Yes, audio visual aids really work.
Yes, yes.
Interesting topics.
Um,
To choose
may I please?
interesting topics
Interesting topic or make it interesting. Yes,
or
you
make
can
it
start
interesting.
talking about
Yeah,
it.
I
Yes.
I really think so that make by showing them a video or pictures won't do good. I think that we need to involve them in a conversation, and that conversation should be interesting. It should be, as per their interest level, so that we can get them involved. Once they are involved in it, then we can develop their background knowledge and we can talk to them about it more.
Yes, that's nice too. But also, you can use some videos, for example, short videos, just to encourage them to talk or get the idea. Maybe the audience they are not very familiar. Do you remember I said sometimes they're not familiar with the topic? So by showing them pictures or video, you make them familiar. But that's nice. Just have more interactions with your students. Definitely, in this way you can motivate them to listen or raising
Yeah.
some
We can
questions.
also use concrete material, the material which is near our surroundings.
Mm-hmm. Such as,
Concrete material.
such as, give me an
Uh,
example.
like if we are teaching about liquids, so we can show different liquids.
Yeah, you
Uh,
can bring Realia to the class. Yes,
yeah, and
that's right.
if we are doing solid and liquid, so we can show the example of solids and example.
Yes. If you're talking about, for example, if you're talking about different characters, the storytelling characters, you can bring a mask and show them this is a Spider-Man. Yes, bring in Realia. That's right. That's right. Thank you. Brilliant ideas.
Welcome.
Okay, very
I think
good.
I think motivation will go more when you will develop a practical approach in the learning.
Mm-hmm.
That they will enjoy the thing and do start from the point where they know actually. It will, I mean, create a more interest, and they will try
Mm-hmm.
to listen that okay, the teacher is saying something that what we actually know, so she is going to tell more about it. So it will create an I mean interest.
Yes, that's interesting too. That's interesting too. Bravo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
So
you,
that
Uh,
sir.
is the very that
through
sure.
real life examples.
Mm-hmm.
Through real
Uh,
life examples.
such as such as what?
Um, like if we are teaching about in
Historical
mathematics, like if we are teaching about
yes.
multiplication, so we can show how the multiplication table generated with the help of the concrete material, through addition. Indirectly, we are doing addition. So that is one of the example, like through the
Yes.
material.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Or, for example, it's about historical monuments. So you start talking about historical monuments in your town or in your city. So now let's listen to this one. Yes, that's right. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. So that's the very first step. Motivate your students to listen, okay? Or to they become active listeners, not passive to just look. Okay, good. Then also we need to assess their comprehension. Okay, just check if they get the meaning, if get the ideas, if they get the gist of the listening. Okay, definitely we work on keywords. Check if they know the keywords. Otherwise they won't understand anything. It depends on the listening, but it's good sometimes to ask them to predict, okay, the speaker's purpose or what happened next, okay, or speaker's idea or opinion, or they guess what happened next, okay? But are we going to teach all the words, all the new words to them? Of course not. Stop spoon feeding your students, okay? You just help them to guess the meaning through the context. I said we need to pre-teach the keywords, since if they don't know the keywords, they won't understand anything. But other, like, let's talk about so how to make a strawberry jam. I need to pre-teach strawberry and jam. But through pictures and listening, they can understand what's the meaning of chopping, mixing, adding, so they can guess the meaning. I don't need to teach all the new words, okay? Students need to try for learning, okay? So also it makes them to concentrate because they listen carefully to guess the meaning and understand. So don't teach all the new words. There's no need for that. Or they try to understand it, or sometimes you ask some questions about the topic just to make it clear for them and know if they got it, okay? First, they get the gist of the listening. So what's happening? Then later, in intensive listening, you go through the detail. But in extensive listening, just they get the general gist. There's no need to go through the intensive, through the details, okay? Because that was, they listen just to improve their pronunciation, better comprehension, they enjoy listening, okay? But in intensive, you have to go through the details and ask detailed questions or scan for the scanning for specific information. So you can give them different activities like listening for the gist, general idea, listening for specific information. For example, when did he go there? Okay, or when did this event happen? So they have to listen very carefully to find the time, specific information. Listening for all the details, so it's a processing of something, so they have to listen, order the sentences, or fill in the blanks, so they have to listen to the details. Listening for imitation, okay, so they have to listen to imitate, like dubbing, so they listen to the part and say, now I want you, you're A, you're B, so you have to interview your friend. So they have to listen very carefully and then imitate and say the same thing. Or listening for attitude, the mood of the speaker, or intention of the speaker, or just explain the opinion. Maybe it's not very clear, so they have to listen to the whole dialogue or do the whole monologue or the listening to understand the opinion. Okay? And then they discuss, either they agree or disagree. And guess what's happening next? Okay? These are the samples of different activities we can give for listening. Just to check top down and bottom up. Top down, comprehension. Bottom up, words, stress, structure, so detail of language. So in general, talking about kinds of listening performances, reactive, listening to the surface structure of an utterance, they get the comprehension, they understand the whole thing. Intensive, focusing on certain components, responsive, elicit, imitate, and they understand, and they respond, and they respond. Selective, they scan for specific information. Extensive, just top down, they listen to something and they get the general idea, or interactive, you work on all of them. But for all levels, we work on top down and bottom up both in intensive listening. We work on their comprehension. Also, we work on language part. Okay? Is that clear enough, everybody? That was the overall of what we said. Maham. Thank you. That was clear enough? Yeah. Now, clear, good. So, for teaching, so I have the idea how to teach listening. So in processing, there are three main stages: pre-listening activities, while listening activities, post-listening activities. Pre-listening activities means you prepare your students for the new listening, for the new lesson. Like, how do you prepare your students? You give me the idea. Come on. Sorry. How do you prepare your students? You want to start teaching this part, which is listening. How do you prepare your students?
Prepare your students for listening?
Yes, for listening. You want to start teaching listening. You want to prepare your students for this part of the lesson. As I said, you cannot go to the class and say, hello, everyone, now listen, and start listening. No. So how do you prepare your students? How? Come on.
It's written on your screen that we have to give them a background knowledge. That's what you call pre-listening, and then while listening they need to listen, and then we need to conduct an assessment or a test to see or check whether whatever they have listened, they have gathered the correct information even or not.
Thank you. Very good.
You're welcome.
Any other ideas?
Yeah, we can. I can give them some ideas about the topic what they're gonna listen to, some information, to prepare them to be ready to listen. So I have to first give them some information about what they're gonna listen, some information, some ideas, to make them focus.
Or we can also do that any event which is has been already done previously, we can ask the question related to that event.
Bravo, very good. Any
Or
other
either
ideas?
yes, or either we can show them a video. First, we have to brief them the background. So if the children are too small, so we will start the pre-listening with the small vocabularies or small sentences. Then we will move on the while listening.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Bravo. Okay. So, as you said, exactly, from different, by using different activities, you need to prepare your students for the lesson. So they need to get familiar with the topic. How? Through pictures, talking about pictures, or you write the topic on the board, you ask them some questions, and activate their background knowledge from known to unknown. So we always start from known to unknown. So you activate their background knowledge, then you add new information. So this is a way they can remember it better. Okay? Okay? When it is connected with their known knowledge, they can remember much better. That's so true. So you start asking them some question, elicitation, and then you can show them very short videos if it's needed, if the audio is really odd for them, they're not familiar with the topic, yes, of course. Or you can bring up some pictures them or start talking and explaining and ask them questions. Then you need to pre-teach the keywords. Before starting the listening, you need to pre-teach the keywords. Then, just to help them to focus better, okay, you need to introduce or you need to ask some general comprehension questions, okay, or general comprehension activities. Otherwise, it's difficult for them, even if their listening is very long, it's very difficult for them to focus. So it's much better to give them an activity, but not for details because it's first time listening, very general, to get the gist of the listening. So you give them the activity and then you play the listening. They get to while listening phase. So you prepare your students, then they get to while listening. Through listening, you work on top down and bottom up. So you ask them comprehension questions and also based on language, different parts of the language, the words, the structure, pronunciation, functions. So they do worksheets, okay? They start talking about it. They write something about it. They do some exercises, or activities. Just you check, they have learned. Then the last phase is post-listening. In post-listening, you need to get the feedback. You assess them. You check them if they have learned. So we give them some activities or worksheets again, or quizzes maybe, or ask them to act, start interviewing their friends or write something. Just check they have learned. Okay? Oops, sorry. So that's the way you plan pre-listening activities, while listening activities, and post-listening activities. Okay, is it clear enough?
Yes,
Is
please.
it clear enough?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Great. Now I want you to listen. I hope you can hear it well. I want you to listen to this audio and fill in the blanks. Let me play it. Let me see if you can hear it well. Wait a minute. Okay. So no worries. Okay, no worries for next time. I'm going to send it to TESOL Canada sooner, so they upload it. I cannot upload it from here. Okay, so this is an activity. You play the music, and then students need to focus to fill in the blanks. For example, I don't drink coffee, but tea, my dear. I like my toast down on one side, and you can hear it. Oh, you didn't hear it actually. Okay, so they listen and fill in the blanks. Okay, number one, is it top-down activity or bottom-up activity? They need to listen very carefully and fill in the blanks with the word. What is it?
Down.
Very good. Yes. Okay, it's just understand the word, exact word, and feel it. Can you type it for me? So top down, get the idea. Bottom up, going for details of the language. Okay, so Just focus and fill in the blanks with the exact word. So what is it? Is it top-down activity or bottom-up activity?
This is a top-down activity.
Why top-down activity?
Because you're just giving them a basic idea. You're not telling them, you're not going in language details.
I think
But
it's
they have
bottom.
to,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's from bottom, from the to up. So it's gonna be detailed because you have to write in detailed what in the text. So they have to listen carefully and write it in right. Only right words. Few right words will be the right word. So I think it's gonna be from the bottom to up.
Yes, thank you. Mohan, can you hear me now? It says you're not audible. Can you hear me? I guess you need to check your internet connection. Guys, what about the rest of you? Can you hear me well?
Yes, please. I can.
Oh, okay. What were the others? Yes, good. So, Mom, I guess you need to check your
Ma'am,
connection.
we can hear you, but your voice is, I mean, not as louder as it should be.
Oh,
We can hear
really?
you, but yeah,
So,
it's lagging
what
too
about now?
also.
Is it better? Is it better now? What about now? Is it better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So, guys, as your friend said, sure, sure. As your friend said, because they have to write exact word. I don't drink coffee, but tea. Okay, so they need to focus on the word and they need to understand the pronunciation. So it's bottom up. You're working on pronunciation and vocabulary. But then later, I'm going to talk louder. But then later, you ask them, so what do you think? What's his feeling, the Englishman in New York? Okay. How does he feel? Does he like it or he doesn't like it? Okay. So you ask about the feeling, the opinion. This is top down or bottom up? Talking about feeling, talk about his opinion.
This is top-down. When we talk about
Yes.
the feelings and their opinions.
Very good. Very good. So you're talking about general comprehension. They're talking about their comprehension. That is top down. But when you
Yes.
go to checking the words, checking
Language
pronunciation,
details.
checking it, that is bottom up. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes?
please. But then
Good.
can you please clarify that this activity is it's about top down or bottom up? Because I kept
So
on
this is
saying
for
this is
both.
top down.
So it could use for both. So
Okay.
filling the words is bottom up. Asking questions about opinion, ideas, feeling, it is top down.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
So
Thank
you
you.
can have one audio listening, okay? But you can have different activities, top down and bottom up. Okay? So you need to work on both aspects. Very good, guys. Now let's talk about speaking. So tell me, when do you work on speaking skills in your class? Huh? When do you work on speaking in your classes?
Usually when our teachers are asking questions from us, then only.
Okay, very good. When we answer to the questions, that's right.
Yeah.
And we give them some topic for speaking and for and debate and sometimes quiz.
That's right. You ask them questions, you give them a topic to talk. Very good. What else? What else, everyone?
I believe that the spontaneous speaking. Are you getting my voice?
Yes, 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 yes.
Spontaneous
Give me an
speaking
example.
is good for kids.
Such as,
For,
give me an example.
for example, I give a different topics in a basket and I give the chance to my kids that pick any topic and he started speaking. I gave him a few minutes for thinking, and he spontaneously speak on the topic. And I checked
Bravo.
his speaking.
Bravo. That's good. Give them
Thank
thinking
you.
time and then start talking. Excellent. Very good. What else?
I ask my students to have an interview with each other. So in that case, they get to know about each other more. And sometimes I ask them to have conversation with each other. So I think that's the brilliant idea for
Uh,
me.
Excellent. That's
I
good. So
think
interview each other. Uh-huh.
I think
We can also
speaking skill.
we
I
can
think
also have
speaking skill means that whatever they are speaking, actually, just I mean, mending their ways. Whatever they are speaking, it's not about some topic or some minutes or something. But all the conversation is about the speaking. Whatever they are just speaking formally or informally. Uh, so these all are their speaking skills. So why they are going with some other topic or particularizing something. So generally they are speaking. So it is also included in the speaking skills, doesn't it?
Thank you. Yeah, that's right.
um,
That's right. Thank you. Yes.
one is that we can also have news period activity in which children can share any news which they know, and they will tell to other students.
That's right.
News period
Talking about the
activity.
latest news. Yeah,
And
very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So
and
when I can present a picture and let them to describe it or to tell me what you think about it. Like everyone can describe the picture in their own thinking, in their own mind, with their own with their own thinking. Yes, they can express this with
Thank you.
their own language. Yeah.
I
Very
think
good,
role
Radva.
model activity is more make them a good speaker. A role model activity, because I did a role model activity in my class, and I took them a vegetable stall and I said pick any vegetable and say about it, and they enjoyed a lot and they speak a lot of about the vegetables. So I
Oh,
think
that's
it's
nice. Yes, that's not. Thank you very much, Saria. Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, that is
taking
also a
really
good
to the
activity.
class. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, Sarah. So you take Realia to the class. Motivate your students to talk. Very good, very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So sometimes you ask them to imitate, imitate what they hear, to work on their pronunciation, to work on the accuracy, also correctly, the structure correct that they say it in corrected structure, imitative. Like, do you like computers? Yes, I do. Like drilling. Do you like TV? Yes, I do. Do you like restaurants? Yes, I do. Do you like soccer? Yes, I do. Do you like volleyball? Yes, I do. So drilling. So they know intonation, rising, falling intonation, pronunciation, stress. And sometimes it goes beyond imitative, like intensive. So they practice to run a dialogue, okay? So you work on correct grammar, grammatical aspects, also correct pronunciation. Responsive, the same thing that you say. You ask them some questions, you ask them some questions, and they have to answer. They have to answer back. So short replies or transactional dialogue. They exchange information, talking about something like local news, and intrapersonal. So like social talking. So they start talking how to make a conversation in a restaurant. So there are different activities you can have for speaking. As you said, you mentioned many of them. Like warm-up activities. You're going to start your class with warm-up activities. The first session, getting to know, or this is the name of this activity, getting to know, you interview your friend, okay? Know each other. So you give them a list, you write it on the board, you give them, or in your online classes, you can have mini boards. So I always have mini boards, this mini boards, so all the students have mini boards. So it's fun. You have this interactive boards also in different platform, but also it's good, especially for children. They have mini boards. So it's a cover. I put the paper on it. So they can write with the marker and show it to the webcam. It works really for children. They like it very much. So you make a list on the board, like ask your friend about their nickname if they have, birthday, place of birth, family members, education, or hobbies. So they start talking. May you share some slides which are helpful? Okay, sorry, I'm gonna talk to Dr. Valizadeh. Let's see what is the policy. But definitely you have the video, you have the link. Okay, so how it works, you ask the students in your on-site face-to-face classes, you ask your students, okay, everybody get up and just go around and ask questions. So they come, what's your name? When's your birthday? Who do you live with? Okay. What do you study? Talk about your hobbies. Okay. So they start asking each other. Number one, it's good for the rapport in the class. So they make friends, they feel comfortable, which is very important. Number two, they work on their speaking. Okay. They become more fluent because they keep asking the same questions from different students. And what's the role of the teacher? You just go around and listen to them, monitor them. If they have some problems, you help them. Even at the beginning, you can check the questions. So how do you ask for a name? They say, I'm going to ask, what's your nickname? Or do you have a nickname? How do you ask for the birthday? When's your birthday? Or when were you born? Okay. So you check the question with the students, then you ask them to stand and walk around and ask each other. In your online classes, what about online classes? In online classes, you can put them in breakouts. So say U2, 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 or U3, 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 and ask each other. So you can have warm-up activities for speaking. Also, we always have, for processing, we always have the three main phases: pre-speaking activities, while speaking activities, post-speaking activities. So now you have the idea. Tell me, what about pre-speaking activities? What kind of activities you can have for pre-stage to prepare your students? Come on. What kind of activities you can have to prepare your students for the new topic of speaking? Come on. You're not getting me. Okay. You remember we said we have three stages for teaching: pre, while, post. Prepare students while through the activity practicing, post getting the feedback. For speaking, how do you prepare your student for the topic you want to talk about? For example, you have a discussion, or you have a debate in the class, or they are going to have a dialogue in the class. So how do you prepare your students? What techniques, what kind of activities you can have to prepare your students?
We can share a framework of different pictures to just cater them that what they are acquiring from those pictures.
Bravo.
So that they can have
an topic.
Yes, pictorial. We can go with pictorials.
Thank you.
I can
Thank you very much, Sarina.
I can ask them some warm-up questions for background of the topic, or they gonna say or speak about, just to encourage them to speak more about the topic.
Thank you. Thank you. Activate their background. Thank you, Radba. Give them some information. Yes, Sana, sometimes we need to give them some information. That's correct.
We can give some hints. Yeah, we can give some hints. that are related to our topic.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain
Hints.
it?
And we always show them the known things, so they can, from the known things, then we go to the unknown things, so they feel comfortable while speaking. And we
Thank you,
have to
Sana.
give them 5 minutes to introduce their self, so their speaking become good.
Yes, especially at the beginning. Yes, Sonal. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Any other ideas? So here's my question. Guys, maybe the topic or the discussion, they need to use some phrases. They need to use special structure. For example, talking about your wishes. Talking about your wishes. So they need to use conditional type 2. If I were a bird, I would fly. Where would I fly? I would fly to the beach. Yes. Okay. So talking about their wishes. Talking about their wishes or ideas. So do you need to pre-teach? Okay, pre-teach anything?
In my opinion, no.
No. So they have to use the new words. They have to use the phrases. Just
Keywords. I
It's all
have
about
the
mindfulness and critical thinking.
yes, Mohan. I'm sorry, Mohan. Would you please say that again? Mohan, you were talking, I guess. Somebody was talking. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I
I
just
think it's all about mindfulness and critical thinking. Students have to focus on their thinking. That's why we don't have to give them any, hints about the topic. They have to speak by their own.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any
think
other ideas?
I think we can write down some keywords to just let them speak more smoothly.
Very good, Radva. What else? Anything else? Okay. So as you said, which you were right, correct and right, it depends on the target language of the class. Sometimes it's free discussion. So you put the topic and students start talking. It's at the level of the students. It's at the level of their knowledge. It's not too difficult and it's not too easy. At the level of their knowledge, okay? So they can handle it. So you put the topic on the board and the students start talking. At the same time, or even you give them thinking time, 1 or 2 minutes, think, and then they start talking. You have the discussion, you have the debate in the class, talking about pros and cons of this topic. So you never give them a frame. It's free talking. Or you give them a topic and they think and then they stand up and start talking about it. Okay? So they use the vocabulary, the structure that they know. But sometimes you need to help your students. So you have to check the structure with them. Or you need to give them some keywords to talk. You need to give them some key structures to talk. So it's good to put the phrases on the board to help them to speak better, more fluent and more accurate. So it depends on the activity. It depends on the target language of the class. It depends on the aim of the lesson. Sometimes the aim is fluency. So they talk, let them talk. Sometimes the aim is accuracy. So proper lexis, proper structure. So you need to help them. You put some phrases on the board to help them to speak better. Okay? So it depends. And while speaking, so you run the activity through pictures, through videos, worksheets, even you give them some reading. Read it and then talk, listen to it and then talk. Post speaking, you get the feedback. The feedback. You check they understand the speaking part. You check they can use the new phrases. You check they can use the new structure. So always we have these three phases in our teaching. Prepare, give them the tools for speaking or for listening. While practicing, first you control, they learn, then freer practice, you put them in a situation, let them be more creative, let them be more creative. Post, get the feedback, assess your students. Give them worksheet, give them quiz, ask them to role play. So you just assess they have learned. These three phases are important in teaching. Okay, so as you said, for pre-elicitation, elicitation, asking questions about their experiences, about their area, about their ideas, activate their background knowledge from known to unknown, okay? Then picture talking, look at these pictures, tell me what's happening, what's going on, what is it about, what are they doing, what's the opinion, what's their feeling. Brainstorming, so you put the topic and they start talking from different aspects. You're working on critical thinking, yes? So let's look at it from different aspects. They say their ideas and they talk, and talking about the title. So you write the questions and say, what about how we can keep the environment safe in our local area? So they start talking about it. Okay, so this could be for pre. For practice time, which is wide, we want them to use specific structure. What are you doing these days? So what structure are they using when they want to answer to this question? What are you doing these days? What grammar point you are working on? When they want to answer. I'm not clear enough. So I said, what are you doing these days? They said, at the moment, I'm taking TESOL. I'm studying to improve my English and in my career. So they are talking about what are they doing these days. So what grammatical point they need to use? Is it past tense, present, or future?
Present.
When you are talking.
Present.
Present time. Yes, thank you. They need to use present tense, present continuous. Yes? Yes. So you focus on, you're checking their grammar. You focus on their grammar point. Sometimes you're working on functions. So it depends what's the target language of the class. So you ask them to interview each other, to use the function. Okay? Would you where would you like to go on your holiday or on your vacation? Where would you like to stay? Okay, so they're interviewing each other. Games, you can run different games in the class, which is fun, Or discussions, role playing, ranking exercises, individual practice, oral dialogue practice, or they read something, they come to the class and study it, or start talking about something. So this different practice you can have. For feedback, you ask them to talk based on the vocabulary they learn. So they learn family vocabulary about environment. So you ask them to talk about environment. They learn about, for example, different transportation. So they start to talk about their favorite transportation. Okay, to use the words, or to use the grammar, or to use the functions. You check their pronunciation and stress and intonation. You know, guys, what's the difference? So in pre-phase, you prepare your students, you introduce the topic, you activate their background knowledge. You start from known, then you lead them to unknown part, and you teach them the new target language, either structure or vocabulary or function or pronunciation, what is it? Mhm. Then in while, you need to practice. You need to practice with your students that they can learn. Just by saying it once, they won't learn it. So you need to practice. But how to practice? It should be enjoyable. It should be fun. It should be interesting. Yes? Don't you agree? So just doing worksheet is not enough. So you should take different activities for different styles of learning, okay? Because people have different modes of learning. Some of them are visual. So you take pictures, you take videos. Some of them are auditory. So you take music to the class, you take audios to the class. Some of them are kinesthetic. So you have role plays, you have games, you take realia to the class. And some of them like to read and write. So you take worksheets to the class. So never go with one activity to your class. No, it's wrong and it's boring. So different fun activities, games, PowerPoints, okay? Take to the class to engage your students, And after practicing, you need to assess your students. Why it is important to assess your students? Why? What's your idea? Why it is important to assess your students? Why it is important to get the feedback?
To help them know, where he stand, to help them know where he stand. So maybe sometimes when the students come to me, they even don't know that if they are good or bad, or they have to know which level they stand on.
Bravo. Thank you very much, Radha. What about the others? Any other idea why it is important to assess your students? What about yourself? Don't you think you need to reflect on your work, on your teaching? Don't you think? How could you understand? How could you understand you have taught well? How could you understand it? That I did my work well.
Maybe after assessing the child, we know those area on which we have to work, maybe.
Yes, thank you very
So
much,
we
Sana.
can,
Sorry, you were talking. Can you continue?
no, it's okay. So we can work on the same as with us. If we are, assessing ourselves, so we take out those points on which we have to work, those weak points on which we have to work. So same with the children, after taking their assessment or assessing them, so we can take out those areas on which we to work on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sonal. Correct. Any other ideas? Do you have any other ideas? Okay. Yes, as you said, number one, get the feedback so the students understood. Okay, I have learned this part. You know, in modern books, okay, there's a part every 2 lesson or every 3 lesson, they have a consolidation part or review part or look back, okay? Just review the main objectives of previous lesson. Then on the bottom of the page, there's a box, I can. Have you ever seen it? I can make questions with WH words. I can answer in present tense. I can talk about my daily routine, and they tick. Why? Because they get the knowledge, okay? They get the responsibility for their learning. So I have learned this part. So it's good. When you get the feedback, especially adult learners, they say, oh, I have learned it. So it improves their self-esteem and self-confidence. Also, it's a reflection on my job as a teacher. So I reflect, oh, my students have learned this part, or still they have problems. So I need to work on it. I need to have more activities. I need to prepare more activities. I need to have more tasks or in the class or exercises. Students still have problem on this matter. So by getting feedback, not only students get how well they have learned, but also you have reflection on your own job, how well you've taught. So post activities also is very important. So you prepare, activate their background knowledge, pre-teach the keywords or review the structure. Then they have while activities. Okay, they practice, you control them, you put them in a situation to become creative and use the target language. Then you get the feedback. It's a time they talk about their real life. It's a time that they own the language. They own the language and talk about their ideas, their beliefs, their area, their experiences, okay? And you reflect on your teaching. But remember, after these 3 phases, you need to give them what? To practice at home. You need to give them how should the students practice at home? You need to give them what? Would you call it the activities that they need to do at home is home homework, yes? Or home assignment, yes? Is that right? So at home, they need to do some activity, okay? Based on what they have learned in the class. Is that right? So you need to give them homework to practice at home. What happened? Guys, tell me. What will happen if they just learn in the class and go home with no activities? What will happen?
Well, it will be very boring, one-sided, and there are very few chances that all the learners will get what the teacher wants to explain.
So if they,
So,
thank you, Nida. Thank you,
You're
Nida.
welcome.
So if they learn something in the class, but they won't practice at home, they will forget it. So they need to practice at home to become more fluent, more accurate. So you need to give them homework or home assignment. So as we said, in speaking skills, you work on accuracy and fluency both. Guys, do you know what's the difference between fluency and accuracy? What's the difference between fluency and accuracy?
So fluency is going in a speedy way, and accuracy is something to be accurate, to use the correct choice of words.
Thank you, Nida. Thank you. Any other ideas?
I think fluency is speaking smoothly in easy way, and but accuracy, that correct sentence, to the correct structure of the sentence. They can use good form, right form, correct form of the sentence, like that.
Very good, Radva. Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. That's right. Fluency means talking without hesitation, without pausing. And accuracy means correct pronunciation, proper words, okay, proper syntax, proper structure, okay. And in speaking skills, we work on fluency and accuracy both. And interactive effectiveness means they don't talk to each other like robots, so they know how to answer. So natural communication. Also, body language is also important, and readiness to talk. Okay, how to talk, communicate naturally. Yes, that's what we practice. Tonality is also important. It's not only stress, pronunciation, but also the tone is also important to work. If they talk monotonously, so rising and falling, okay? For example, is it cold enough? Is it cold enough? Rising. What's your name? What's your name? Okay. Or my name is Alham. My name is Alham. Oh, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. What about you? So see, the intonation in language is also very important. So how you practice with your students. And stress in English, as you know, even if you use it different stress, or the meaning will change. So record or record. So these are another aspects of speaking. Lexical, correct pronunciation, correct intonation, fluency, and accuracy structure. Okay? I want you to play something for you which is impossible right now. Thank you very much, guys.